Hello, everyone, and welcome to Climate Conversations. I'm your host, Kathy Yang, and today I am joined by Anthony Ochieng Onyango. And Anthony is a conservation photographer, filmmaker, and National Geographic explorer based in Kenya. He is the founder of Tony Wild, an organization that tells visual conservation stories. Anthony's background in wildlife ecology combined with his vivid photography skills help capture marine and terrestrial habitats and the connections between humans, culture, and wildlife. Such a pleasure to have you today, Anthony. Um, so let's just get straight into it. What inspired your spark or passion for nature that ultimately led you to start Tony Wild and your photography and pursue conservation.
Wow, thank you, Kathy. That is a whole book, trust me. Because my love for nature didn't just start abruptly, but I'll owe it to my dad who gave me access or the privilege to be able to access Nairobi National Park at a younger age. And
Hmm.
that became like part and parcel of my life. And even my decisions as I was doing my career, I actually did not do business. I ditched business to do wildlife ecology as a career. And
Hmm.
it was a debate between me and my father. I was like, somebody has to win, and I'm happy he let me win because that's where my heart was.
Hmm.
Uh, and having this success for me was a privilege. And there are quite a number of people in Kenya who have no access to wildlife, especially protected areas. When I talk about Kenya as a whole, I don't talk about the major areas where people know, like the Masai Mara, Amboseli. I'm talking about the whole of Kenya. Kenya has about 54 plus uh, private, 54 parks across the
Hmm.
country. The famous ones are a bit few, but trust me, there are people who live around there. And I believe they also equally need to get access
Hmm.
to the park. And that's why I started from Tony Wild Foundation to be able to allow younger people to access parks, not necessarily from areas where they live with wildlife, but because I believe everyone in Kenya has a right to know what wildlife is and protect it, and they can able to influence the policies and the decisions that are being made by the political class regarding conservation and wildlife.
Hmm.
So, education is a very important component in Tony Wild Foundation. And the best way to do it for us is through film, photography, and once in a while animation. And that's how I came into moving from being a wildlife practitioner to now combining photography as a tool to enable me share conservation work. So it's a journey. It has different stages of my life that have built up. But I'm always happy to say that it started from me having access to the park. And I believe Tony Wild wants to do that to as many other young people as possible to go to access the park, trigger that curiosity, trigger the love of nature, and just be able to support nature regardless of whatever career you do, whether it's business, politician, economics, AI
Hmm.
stuff. Yeah, but you
Yeah.
need support conservation at the end of the day. Yeah. So that's just like a small, nice summary, but
Hmm.
to a book.
Yeah, you could definitely write a book about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think national parks, also for me, I think national parks are very, like, I went to Acadia National Park when I was in
Mhm.
like middle school in Maine, and it was like, and then after that, like every single national park is like on my bucket list now, and it's just, yeah, I really think parks and like access to nature definitely play an important role. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, do you have any like highlights or favorite memories you have from like in the fields or from your overall journey with conservation?
Ooh.
A
Uh,
lot.
I think I have a lot, but I'll try. I'll talk about the one that comes into mind like immediately. 2 years ago, I had a chance to go to Mafia Island. So Mafia Island is in Tanzania
Hmm.
and town of the whale sharks. And for me, it wasn't my first time to go to. It was my first time to actually be able to see whale sharks.
Hmm.
Um, and I can remember when I was free diving with my camera, I could see it on my frame that is just a small, nice, cute little uh, whale coming towards my direction. But the moment I removed my eyes from the frame and looked up, I saw this huge spotted whale shark just moving across me. I was like, wow, this is so big. But before I remembered, I had to get my breath. So I had to go back up to just breathe because it was my first time and again on camera. And for me, it was just beautiful. But
Hmm.
I was old enough at that particular time. I was lucky enough to have my daughter with me, and she will see like 8 of them at the age of 6. So I was imagining if I saw this 6 years ago, how would my life be today?
Hmm.
So again, talking about access, everybody gets access to conservation of nature in a different way. And those are moments where when we are sitting on the boat, I was asking myself, okay, so this young girl has seen 8 whale sharks in a day. I'm
Wow.
seeing my first whale sharks as an adult,
Hmm.
two different groups of people. And that for me is what inspires me to be able to connect with other people. And I remember when we are done with the whale watching, she drew like a paper and with spots of the whale sharks. And for me, that was what younger people need to access.
Hmm.
And the more we're able to access, it becomes much more interested. Connecting human with nature is a process. It doesn't just happen, but it's a process because conservation for a very long time has been treated as a tourism product, but
Hmm.
not as of life. So access can be limiting. Because of either the amount you have or limiting because of the time that you have to be able to go to these particular places. So that does not allow you to get younger. So Tony Wild Foundation is mainly to get into those particular gaps and allow younger people to question nature, their curiosity, go back and see what really nature means within their own spaces.
Hmm.
And for me, just sharing my personal experiences, my daughter's experiences with the whole of younger people that I get across with, because that's where it starts.
Hmm.
And I usually have this imagination of imagining all the Kenyan politicians have an understanding of what wildlife is. They
Hmm.
went through a beautiful wildlife education program. They won't be making decisions that don't support nature. They'll
Hmm.
be really cautious about their decisions, knowing that I have seen these things in the wild and will not want them to be distracted, to be disturbed,
Hmm.
destroyed, or thrown away. So those are just moments that I've gone through that I think I'll probably share because I know we are all in a generational gap. There's this generational information going from one generation to another, and some of us are accessing it earlier than the others, but still there are people who are underprivileged to not be able to access parks. And
Hmm.
not just parks, but nature places that so they can be able to connect with nature. And for me, that is just one of the experiences I'll actually share um, just with this particular moment. And then there's one now on land because I work both on land and sea.
Hmm.
On land, I was commissioned to do an elephant story in a place called Lake Jipe. And in this community, people live with elephants alongside each other,
Hmm.
not with basically, but with respect. Where when I see an elephant, I give it way. And elephants will tend to avoid where human beings are, but
Hmm.
they'll share a common resource, which is the lake that has these reeds that they eat. And when I was doing this assignment, there was this elephant. bull that was moving in between the houses. And I was there with one of my friends called Zach, um, the scientist on the ground, and the bull was coming towards me.
Mhm.
Come into context, I'm not a fan of elephants, and I know people are listening will be like, "You're not a fan of elephants?" That particular time was not because I felt they're destructive. They destroy people's crops and stuff. But then when I was doing this particular assignment, my heart changed. Like
Oh.
I saw this bull come closer to me. All he just did looked at me uh, with and then just flapped his ears. And I can remember Zach telling me, Tony, do not move. Just stay. And all I could do was just pick my camera and take a picture from that particular location.
Mhm.
Those are memories that will forever stay with me. Yes, they're in an image, but the image will not be able to communicate the feeling that I had at that particular moment, which is so special.
Mhm.
Uh, and since then, even my current research is still linked with elephants just because of that particular experience.
Wow.
So, two different ecosystem, two different experiences that make me really feel that nature is way, way, way beautiful and needs to be conserved. And
Mhm.
purpose of development within our countries and spaces. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. You have like such intriguing stories. I feel like the shark one is like, well, I've never seen like one like above me or anything, but I can imagine that can be very like awe-inspiring. And I'm so glad like you had your daughter with you. That's amazing. And then obviously the one with the elephants, also like an amazing story. I think, like you said, you can definitely like change your mind when you're like actually like seeing the animals and like getting up close with nature and stuff. So I guess you already kind of talked about like the importance of photography and like filmmaking, like how it can impact especially young minds and like children as they're growing up. I think it's very important to have that exposure. So do you have anything to add on to that about like the role of media or anything like that?
Media is a very powerful tool.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and media for a very long time was used as a tool of war.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at it in the past. And that is why you realize that most of the words that we use in a camera is shoot, capture, even the wording was affected with the way the camera was actually modified.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but that being said, the camera, yes, is a powerful tool, and when it comes to your hand as the storyteller, you have so much power, even in the way you frame, because you can be seeing an elephant bull with a kid walking next to it, but you can actually remove the kid off the frame and just take the picture of the
Mm-hmm.
elephant. That becomes just one narrative. But there's this other narrative where someone will take a picture and the kid in the same frame, or the kid alone without the elephant. Those are three narratives, same space,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone will actually be able to interpret them differently.
Yeah.
Whose story will you tell? And images, they might be single images, but they speak a lot of words. And that's why sometimes we as photographers, we need to really understand the power that we have when we hold those particular tools to be able to tell that particular story. So photography can travel way fast. With this generation, there is no dark room to go through and create the negatives and stuff. It's like take it and it's out. Take it
Mm-hmm.
and it's out. And I think we need to take advantage of this particular technology to be able to share as much as possible about wildlife, not only the beautiful wildlife, but the people behind the wildlife process and what you can actually do to conserve nature. Because we are human beings, we trust what we see. We,
Mm-hmm.
we see and they're like, oh, there's actually elephants in Africa. Yes, there are elephants in Africa. But it's been communicated either by pictures or by an oral narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, And that has been the case over time. Africa has been documented through pictures for a very long time. And that is what has always been the narrative, the nice sunsets with an elephant at the background. That is the Africa that has been communicated.
Hmm.
But pictures have played a key important role. But then the question I keep asking myself is, who are these pictures for? Are they for the Western community, or are they for Africans to be able to conserve and preserve their heritage and culture? And that is how powerful it is, because it questions not only our economics, it questions our political spaces and
Hmm.
how we relate and connect with wildlife. So photography is not just about that one click. It's about the whole process that that image takes to be able to get to its audience, and how the audience interpret that particular message to be able to take action towards something.
Hmm.
So I'll see an elephant in distress, or a vet working on that particular elephant, and I'll be like, I need to donate to support the people who are supporting this particular species, or I need to sign a petition regarding the death of X number of elephants so that the government can take action. And that is just photography. And photography documents not only to store, but also to teach and share information wide and beyond different languages, because photography does not capture whether it's Chinese or Mandarin, or it does not. It's just a
Hmm.
frame.
Hmm.
Uh, and you see it in front of you, and you can able to interpret it based on your understanding or your interaction with what you're seeing on that particular frame.
Hmm.
Photography is really, really powerful. And sometimes when I do my work, I question myself, what am I shooting and why am I shooting and who am I shooting for? So that I don't find myself in a trap where um, I have these beautiful images, but they're just meant for me, or they're just meant for a specific group of people. It has to be as open as possible. Yeah. So I
Yeah,
think
so
it's very
wow.
powerful. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Like it transcends beyond, like you said, language or anything like that. Intended audience is really, really important. Like you said, it definitely depends on who you're trying to like show the image to, and because you said it can impact like politics and like everything like that. So that's really
Yeah. Yeah.
um so I guess what are some recent projects, collections, or any future work that's incoming that you've been working on that you would like to talk about?
I have a number of projects, but the ones that are closer to my heart are the ones for the mountain bongo. The mountain bongos are only found in Kenya, with less than 100 in the wild, and in partnership with Mount Kenya Wildlife Conservancy and Kenya Wildlife Forest, Kenya Wildlife Service, working together to increase the numbers to 750, hopefully by 2050. That's a very impressive target to make. And for me, just documenting this particular species, it's just beautiful. Like to see them every morning when I go into the field with the caregivers and the rangers to document the species. And every day I actually go, there's always like a young one has been born, or there's a young one who's grown. So you compare them 3 months when you saw them, and you're like, wow, they've really grown. And for
Hmm.
me, that's what rewilding looks like. Like that's so beautiful to see, to take pictures of individual animals over time and see them grow from being given birth to being adults or sub-adults. And
Hmm.
that's so me at the moment. The other project is, as again, it's a privilege to access protected areas, but sometimes wildlife is actually closer to us at home.
Hmm.
So just wildlife in the backyard, like macro photography, the insects that we see, the different textures of nature that we see as part of my project that is ongoing in a manner of showing Kenya from a macro perspective, like what's within our cities, what's within our gardens, what's within our backyards.
Hmm.
Just to share with people that wildlife is not necessarily the big five, as they say, or what is found in the park, but wildlife is the birds that we see around us, the insects that we see around us, the snails, the slugs, that play a very important role in our soil health and production. So just bringing that closer home. You know, when you talk about elephants and they're only found in a specific region in the country, there's another region that does not have elephants. So how do
Hmm.
you connect and make that connection so that everyone within your following can be able to understand that wildlife is not just found in pastoral communities, but also found across the lake community, the forest community, the ocean community, and just it's all one. So we just need to package it in a manner that makes it more interesting. So my projects are based on really pushing on behavior change, regardless of whatever topic I take.
Hmm.
But my target is how do I make people get connected with nature and hopefully change their behavior towards how they see nature. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I think like close-ups or macro photography can be really cool. Like
Yeah.
recently, like I even went outside and took some photos of like the bees. Like
Yeah.
honeybees are really important in like I think a lot of parts of the world. So yeah.
Yeah.
And then lastly, do you have any tips or advice for anyone interested in photography and pursuing conservation? Yeah.
For those pursuing conservation, I think that's the most beautiful decision you can make. It is satisfactory. It allows you to get connected to nature every single moment you're in the field, and it allows you to reflect who you are as a human when you're in the field, because you meet all these particular beautiful challenges, but they're not like crazy challenges, but you're able to conquer them, and just within the nature that you are in. So, and the conservation career is beautiful, but then you need something else to tag along with it, another different skill to really build up on it, whether it's analytics, whether it's AI, whether it's tech, just be able to merge it together and be able to support wildlife from either political, as you can be a wildlife political scientist, you can never be
Mm.
like you can be a wildlife vet. Like there's so much. You just need to add something into the particular space to conserve wild. You can be a wildlife lawyer, a wildlife activist. So yes, you can study conservation biology, but feel free to explore uh, other careers or other skill sets that you
Hmm.
can able to combine with them with conservation to be able to support wildlife beyond what people see. Because at the moment, conservation does not necessarily pay as much as most of careers, but
Hmm.
if you combine it with other careers, it will be able uh, it will be able to pay what you want. But again, what is pay? You need to determine as an individual what is pay. For some people, pay is just to be able to access nature, to be able to feel human within nature. For some people, pay is the money for them to buy their beautiful cars and stuff. So you need to determine what your pay is.
Yeah.
So determine what direction you'll actually take. But for photography, photography is beautiful, and I recommend that you take pictures from your heart. Take pictures for what you feel, uh, that you feel and communicate to you, and what they communicate to you. Because in most cases, the pictures that I connect with or I feel when I'm actually documenting will always remain part of my life for the longest period ever. So I think that's the best advice.
Hmm.
Like photograph what you feel.
Hmm. So
So yeah,
combining like another track with it, whether that's like activism or politics, and then also photographing from your heart. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you to Anthony for your wonderful insight
Thank
and advice and stories. Definitely, I think you're an example of, carrying your photography wherever you go. So, yeah. Thank you for joining climate conversations, and thank you for watching the video. See you all next time. Bye. Thank you.